Hey everybody, I'm going to talk to you about handles and feet today. I think I'm ready. I've added some different textures. I've smoothed it down. I've smoothed out the top. I've added some horns. If you can see, I'm just going to quick show you my horn. I talked to you about it yesterday a little bit, but I added the horn first. I slipped and scored that on. I started with a round ball and then just went to a triangle and then just kind of pinched it till I had a little bit of a point. And then I slipped and scored it on. And then this I added, this is just a coil. You can kind of see what I did here. Just added a coil and then slipped and scored it and then kind of took my finger and smoothed it down. That way it looks like it's coming from the head rather than just stuck onto the head. All right, so let's talk about different types of feet for the bottom of my creature pot. First thing that we could do, which would be a really easy one, is this is a little pinch pot. So I just followed the rules of my pinch pot from when we made them the first day. So I just pinched and turned and pinched and turned. And this was just a piece of clay about the size of, seriously, about the size of a golf ball. And I firmed it up. So when I say firm it up, what I mean is probably spend a little bit of time with the blow dryer on it to make it so it is still, it's not turned white, it's not turned hard, but it's not as squishy as it was before. So I'm going to add texture before I slip and score this on. But this, I'm showing you the side view here. There we go. Okay, so you can see that if I'm going to pretend that I'm slipping and scoring it, okay? Well, I think in order to even get it to stay on, I'm going to need to slip and score. And when you slip and score the bottom of your pot, I'm gritting my teeth when I do this, you need to really get in there and roughen it up. It's not going to stay if I'm not aggressive with it. Sometimes I see kids slipping and scoring like this. Oh, wow, those are some nice lines. But I'm not asking you to make lines. I'm asking you to cross hatch and really dig into the clay to get it going. Slurry, I'm going to use my hand this time. And then when I stick it, when I attach it on there, you can see what that does. I wonder, you can see my little guy. I guess I'll turn him this way. But that's nice because it gets his little face off the table, and instead my pot sits on the foot. You can't really see that. Let me see if you can see it this way. That's not really working, but I do like that. That looks pretty good. So that's one foot that I can try. I'm going to pull it off. The next foot that I'm going to show you, I'm going to carefully flip this upside down. I'm a little nervous about resting him on his horns, so be careful with that. What I did here was I rolled out a coil, and I made the coil quite thick, and then I took my hand and flattened it out, similar to probably what you did last year to your coil teapots. And I'm going to swing it around. I'm going to overlap it here, and I'm going to cut this in an angle. So I'm going to cut it this way. So then, when I slip and score it together, it's going to fit well together. Okay, I'm pretending, slipping and scoring. That's the slipping and scoring soundtrack. And then I would slip and score this onto my creature pot, and that gives me a nice base, maybe not quite as high up. Here he is. You can see that looks pretty good. It's not quite as high up as the pinch pot look. He doesn't sit quite as high. I like it because it looks a little bit like a neck, or like he's wearing a turtleneck. That looks kind of cool. Of course, I would probably carve something into this, add some texture to that. But slip and score it, and if you want to, you could smooth it down. I'm not really sure I would want to, but so that's a foot ring. It could also be round if I wanted to. So that's the foot ring. What I did here, the next one I want to show you is a tripod foot. And so what I did was I took a round ball. Let me show you how I've made this one, so if you have any questions. I took a round piece of clay. Actually, I took 3 of them at the same time. So make sure they're the same size before you get started. There's nothing worse than trying to make 3 things exactly the same and then not having measured out the clay beforehand. So 3 pieces of clay the same size. And then what I did was I just pinched the edge here. So I just pinch and turn and pinch and turn and pinch and turn and pinch and turn. And then I just kind of lifted it up so it looks like a little foot. But this needs to be firmed up. Whoops, there's the screen. If this isn't firmed up, this is just, my pot's just too heavy for it. It's going to squish it. So it needs to be firmed up. So then what you can do is I would take time and maybe even drywall scrape the top of them so they're flat, but I could take my finger and make sure that they're flat, and then I need to flip my project over and plan whereabouts I would put my feet. So probably here, here, and here. And then just, you need to slip and score like its little life depends on it. This is not enough slipping and scoring. Okay, you really have to get in there. Make it so it's aggressive. And then same as this area over here, really roughen it up. Look at that. Come on, slip and score like you mean it. I made a really cool birdhouse out of 4 pots. So I threw a pot, and then I added another layer and threw another pot and threw another pot. So it was really, really tall. And then I built a birdhouse at the top of it, and I didn't slip and score the roof well enough. And so I had to glue it, which is so lame. Potters don't like to glue stuff. So you can see that, let me go this way with it. That's going to make a pretty fun foot. And obviously when I put all 3 of them down, pretending that I'm slipping and scoring, then I need to, oh man, that's pretty great. That's probably what I'm going to do. Just make sure you slip and score, and I probably would take my finger and attach it onto the clay as well, just to make sure it sits up. Oh my gosh, that's for sure what I'm going to do. That looks awesome. Probably put some toes on there. Okay, now time to talk about a handle. So for a handle, if you're thinking you want one, I guess I don't anymore. I did, but now I'm feeling like I'll love it this way. I'm probably going to put a plant in it, or maybe candy or something, or I don't know, salsa. This would be awesome out on the table. You need to take a piece of clay about the size of a plum. You need to get it into a round ball. Okay, and smooth out all the little cracks. It always happens when you're working with clay. Then what I want you to do is I'm going to take this and roll this, or actually first thing I'm going to do is push it into a potato. So I'm going to take the concave of my hand and take that clay and push it into a potato. Okay, now it's an egg or a potato. Then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to roll it in between my hands like this. So my hands kind of not straight up and down, not parallel lines, but so they're going to at some point converge. And I'm going to roll it into a carrot. So it looks like this, kind of like a big teardrop. And then, now you need to probably use, make sure you have a clean spot at your table, or hop up and use the wedging table if you're in my room. I'm going to roll it, I'm going to add a little water onto the canvas. I'm going to roll it into a carrot, even a longer carrot, or even we could call it an icicle. Okay, so I'm putting more pressure down at this end. I'm only using one hand. I'm taking not my fingers, but the palm of my hand and rolling it out to the thickness that I want my handle, and I think that actually is pretty good. Well, maybe a little bit more. Okay, so now I guess I'm using 2 hands because I need a little help pushing it. And then I'm going to take it and tap it flat. I'm going to tap it into the thickness that I want my handle to be. You can see that that's starting to look like a handle. Okay, do you see that? Then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of water and just press it down. I'm going to flip it over and press it down. Okay, so now I'm ready. I've really got a nice looking handle. I'm going to cut the top because I sure don't want that as my handle. That's too, okay. So this I think would make a pretty nice handle. And now I need to blow dry this to firm this up. This is way too squishy to attach to my pot. This is going to give me trouble. So I would blow dry it. Okay, so I'm blow drying it. I'm done blow drying it. And then now it's time to attach it. So slip and score both pieces just as you would imagine you would do. Let me turn the camera sideways. Okay, can you see that? And then I would slip and score the bottom, making sure I have a nice attachment because otherwise this is going to break off. You also, if you decide to put a handle on your pot, you also need to make sure that you're taking the edges of the handle. Remember, I'm pretending that I'm slipping and scoring. Don't you dare blow that off, or that handle is going to crack and fall right off. Take your fingers and smooth it down. Okay, make sure that you smooth your handle down onto your creature pot, because if you don't, it'll snap off. Okay, end of the hour today. I would cover it with a damp paper towel, cover it like a little blanket over the top of the head of the pot, and then not in the pot, but just over the top. Make sure it's all the way covered, and then airtight plastic. Okay, let's get started.